So in this lecture, we're going to talk about custom optimization fitness parameters, or whatever you call them. So basically, I made two parameters. One is called equity highs, and the other one is just a mixture of parameters that I use sometimes. Just an example to show you how to optimize your strategies. And so have a look right here in Strategy Analyzer. If you go to the optimization tab and you go to the optimize on, you can actually find now golden coef. So that's something I created in YZ equity highs. Okay, both of these codes I will upload, and you'll be able to download them. So basically, equity highs is a very simple thing. So basically, so this method gets called every time an optimizer does one loop, right? So basically, an optimizer just and it runs your strategy once, and then the second time, and the third time, and so on. And every time it executes the strategy with new parameters, this method gets called, and we get this equity high coefficient, which is the return value for this overridden method. And the way you calculate equity highs, so basically what I said is that I want to get a strategy with the most new equity highs, as many as I can get. So basically I'm looking for an equity curve like that. So the more new equity highs I have, the better. I mean, it's just one of the multiple ways to optimize a strategy. Anyway, it's a pretty simple method right here. You can go dive in, and so basically we look at all the system performance, all trades, and for every single trade we just add up the profit, cumulative profit, and then basically all we do is that if the current profit is bigger than the previous one, so basically we look at 2 points. If this point is bigger than this one, that means we got a new equity high. But also, if we go down, right, the point has to be bigger than the current high. Okay, so every time this happens, we fix a new current high. Okay, so this is a new current high, and now this is the new current high. Okay, so and you can see it right here inside the for loop. So if equity I, right, and you got to start from 1, otherwise you get an index out of range exception, obviously. So if equity I is bigger than equity I minus 1, and equity I is also bigger than current equity high, we set the new current equity high to current equity, and also increase the high count, right? So high count is just a counter of those equity highs. Okay, so that's it. And one more thing, if you actually want to debug this thing, so you can go strategy print, and you can debug this anywhere you want, and this will give you a printout into your output window. Okay, so that's it for the one of the optimizers, and the other one that I have is a bit more complicated, and what it is essentially is just a mixture of different coefficients, and what I want to do is get the most out of them, right? So you can create, and that's how I do it, because you want to have some kind of mixture of everything. Like, for example, I take the profit factor, the Sharpe, and okay, then what else? Well, anyway, so let's start with the profit factor, for example, right? So right here is I get, so first I set the initial values. Basically I just set up these variables here from the system. I just get their values from the trade performance, and then I set the math, right? So what that does is that each coefficient, because they all got to add up to something, right? And I made them add up to 99 is the maximum score, and so total params, that means how many coefficients am I going to have inside this total score? I have 10. So I got profit factor, Sharpe, max const loss, so that's maximum consecutive loss in a row. Get max, so that's also maximum consecutive wins, profit coefficient, largest loss, trades per day, and equity high here as well. Okay, so and each of them has this own logic I designed to, I mean, you can design your own. It's pretty straightforward. So for example, the profit factor. So each of these sections can maximum gain a score of 10. Sorry, a score of 99 divided by 10. So it's 9.9, right? So for example, if you look at the profit factor right here, very interesting. Where is it? So if we look at the profit factor right here, so I'm actually pretty satisfied. If I get a profit factor of 2.5, I consider that done. I consider that a very good profit factor. So I give that I give that kind of situation a maximum rating, right, of 9.9. If I get somewhere in between 2.5 and the minimum profit factor, which is 1, so if I get actually less than 1, I return 0, and if I get somewhere in between, I just count how much is my step, right? So maximum I can get 9.9. My max profit factor is 2.5. All right, so if I divide 9.9 divided by 2.5, I get, well, 3.96 is my every step between 2.5 and 1. Well, I hope that made some sense. But anyway, so the point was that if I get something in between my min value and my max value, so if I get something like 1.7, I would rate that somewhere around 6 or 5 or 4.5, doesn't matter. All right, and that's basically, so that's the whole concept behind every single coefficient inside this, right? So I do the same for sharp. I do the same for maximum constant loss. So for example, maximum constant loss, I like, for example, just for this strategy, if it's bigger than 1, then it's 0, and if it's less than 1, you can go simple or you can go a bit more complicated, right? So it's up to you. You can explore this, and so this is the same equity high as from the previous example. It's actually inside this optimizer as well. And you can do various stuff after this. So this, you can kind of go dive in and get the average and then square it out and get the standard deviation inside all of them. And you can go very, very sophisticated with these things, and it's actually pretty cool. But anyways, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, a good practice to have. So this is all about optimization. That's probably as far as you can go. Next thing would be probably inventing your own optimization algorithm, which is just out of the way. Spend all the time coding.